is gonna hit sometime soon this week. Like what? It's usually on Tuesdays, right? So tomorrow?
Soon TM.
Soon TM. But basically, the balance patch has three changes, right? The depth nerf, the photon overcharge. What would it be? Would it be a nerf?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a nerf. Come on,
It's a
don't
nerf.
even try.
It's all.
Yeah, definitely.
And the parasitic bomb nerf as well. So let me. I actually didn't put the link in the. Is it sticky on our StarCraft? But yeah, let's talk about the adapt. Basically, instead, it loses one damage to light to plus light units, and so it three shots Marines and SCVs. It does 44 damage instead of 45, right? That's how it works, right?
Well,
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
about 2 attacks, so it's gonna do 44 instead of 46, I guess, right?
Yeah, 44 instead of
it-
46. Yeah.
It's
And
my
so,
math.
but the thing that I don't understand really with this is that think about like people getting adept speed and dropping adepts. Now you just get an earlier forge and you get +1, and then you drop adepts, and the result's the same. No, Arston?
I remember my man Nathaniel saying the same thing on Twitter. I called him out real fast about that because there's no way that's gonna happen. The way, like, that's not how Protoss build works. You can't just add a forge before the first drop. Like, your first drop hits at 420 or like 430 whatever.
That's when the first supply drop hits. Yeah.
Well
Yeah, like,
memed.
the first prism drop is at around that time, like, and then you have the adept speed 4 gates, and the build is already extremely tight at that point. Like, at one point you have to cut 1 or 2 probes to make everything flow correctly. If you would want to put a forge in there and hit at the same time, you're gonna end up with like 8 or 9 less probes, and it's a completely different build. So that's just not true. It's a dumb thing to say.
Yeah. I was only speculating, but I do agree. Like looking into it as a Terran player, especially for me, like when I think about what this patch does is just the super early adept shit is so much easier to deal with. Like I almost have a dream now that you can open with like without having to rush for a cyclone and a liberator to not die, and then you can like maybe do one racks expands again or some shit, or pylon overcharge is like you can't do enough of them to like constantly kill you anymore. So I think this is a really insanely good patch for Terran, and people aren't going to realize that for like maybe another week or two until people adjust, and then we're going to find out how good late game Tempests are when Terran players don't lose half their SCVs at the start of the game.
Morrow, what do you think of this nerf? Were you abusing adepts, or you were already preparing the nerf?
No, I was kind of a late bloomer on that, but yeah, I did study it a lot for the Remake, and I do realize it was OP, but not only that, it was controlling way too hard on the possible build orders that Terran could do. So like the Thaddeus says, after this nerf, we will see CC first, War Rex expand. We're gonna see pure bio. We could even see like something crazy like Mech, Liberator Rush, like proxies again. We're gonna see Widowbind drops. We're gonna see random fucking Hellion timings, and like we're literally gonna see anything come out of Terran right now. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Protoss would be like completely fucked by this change alone, because a big part of PvT obviously is that you can make adepts in early game. You can make like one adept and take a third base. You make one adept and you have map control. So maybe we're gonna go back to building stalkers in the early game, and suddenly it's like so many things change from here that you can't drop with the mines and do damage like the fucking overcharge, and the adepts aren't gonna kill the with the mines instantly, and so many things are gonna result out of this, and them not having to be afraid of the one build with a war prism and adept. I think Terra will be completely broken, but I think this is still a good change because, like I said, like just adept alone, it controls way too hard on the build orders that Terra can do in early game.
I think it's gonna have a big impact, but I do think you're going a little too far then. Like, I do not think that one damage on the adept is gonna make Terran completely fucking broken. Like, it's gonna change the matchup, but I honestly think for the better. And I think Hawk already showed us against Marine Lord that you don't have to play with adepts to do well. There are many things in the Protoss arsenal right now that I think are very strong against Terran, and just because you cannot like open up with a Prism and you can force Terran to play in a certain way, I don't think Terran is going to be completely broken. Like, yeah, Protoss may have to switch things up a little bit, but I do not think that Terran is suddenly going to be imbalancing against Protoss. I don't see that happening.
I mean that along with the photon overcharge nerf. Like if it
Yeah,
was only the adapt change, I could see it being playable. But I think after
Yeah.
the nerf, it will be like Tyrant is gonna win a shit ton of games. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm curious
Yeah.
to see how the Photon Overcharge plays out. I don't know. Kind of have to see it for myself. It does last a little longer and does a little more damage. So I don't know. How many times do you really drop like 5 or 6 Photon Overcharges against the first like wave of harass? Most of the time it's like 1 or 2 anyway, right?
I think the reason why this is a big deal is like you usually use 1 or 2 and then the Terran goes back, then they try to come up again, and then you use the 1 or 2 again, and then but like now you're gonna drop 1 and then maybe you have 1 or 2 more depending on when you build your mothership core. But it also, but like because you could do so less. Like when I think about this from a Terran perspective, just like you don't even have to almost consider as much like the aggressive stuff with the pylons either, because at best they're gonna have 1 or 2. Instead of just chaining them over and over, because by the time you use like 2 or 3 overcharges, you've almost got enough energy for a 4th one. So like that's what makes dealing with that so much more difficult.
Yeah, I think it kills Pylon Rushing, to be honest.
I
Arsene,
hope it kills it.
what do you think in PvP? You know, like in Rune of Sarah's close air position on Ulrina, do you think it kills Pylon Rushing entirely? Because you have at most 2 Photon Overcharge during a
I've been
rush.
thinking about this a lot, like the past few days. But I'm really not sure. Like I would have to play this scenario multiple times because you also have 1 for defense, and it's gonna do a lot of damage still. And the problem as well with the Pylon rushes is that there's gonna be 2 Stalker against your 1 Stalker, and normally you would at least have the overcharge against the 2 Stalkers, you know. So it's gonna be a really weird situation, and I'm not sure how it's gonna play out. We'll just have to see after a bunch of games. But
I mean-
I do actually want to talk a little bit about the other matchups. Mainly with the photon overcharge.
Okay.
I think PVZ right now is in a pretty decent spot, I would say, early game wise, on most maps where the third isn't too far away. But I feel like if you take a map like Larilak or a map like Runes of Saras, after the photon overcharge nerf, like the 50 energy, it's going to be really, really difficult, even just to properly hold your natural and your main base against like something like a link drop or something similar. And taking a third base will be, I would imagine, even harder. Of course, I haven't played too much on the balanced test map. I played a few games, but it felt almost impossible to ever properly take a third base or to not take a lot of damage, or yeah, basically just to be in an equal spot in the early game on maps like Larilak, Runes of Sarah, Central Protocol. Of course, those are really bad maps for TOS already, but what I'm afraid of, basically, is that having the overcharge nerf is going to force map makers into only making standard maps, where the base is in base, like on Orbital or Dust Towers, or on Prime Terrace, where you can wall up with like 3 buildings real easy down the natural. And I think maps like Runes of Saras, even though I don't like it too much, like with a bigger ramp, might have some kind of place in StarCraft. It does give us some variation. And I think it would be bad to limit map makers in that way. I also feel like it will change PvP a lot. Right now we're basically all expanding for the first time in 5 years. We do an expand every single game, and I'm really, really happy about it. And I don't want it to change, guys. I would really like to keep building expands every game. And I'm not sure if you can defend everything as well. Like Proxy Oracle, Proxy Robo are already super difficult to hold up. And I'm just scared that it will change too much. And I wasn't even sure if the overcharge nerf was necessary. Even though I always felt like the overcharge on Pylons was a bit of a band-aid to keep Protoss together from not dying against everything. They don't really give us anything back now that they kind of removed the band-aid, and yeah, our leg is basically still broken. So yeah, that's what I
Did
think.
you say your race is still broken?
No.
Yeah, the legs.
Oh, the legs. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's actually a very good point, man. It's gonna be. I was talking to Hitman last night. I messaged him and I'm like, "Hey, how are you liking Legacy of the Void so far?" And I'm like, he's like, "No, I'm done. I don't like the changes. I think it's silly." And I'm like, "Is it because you can't all in anymore?" And then he didn't give me like a definite answer on why exactly he left. But now that you're saying that Photon Overcharge being nerfed might make PvP a lot more aggressive and one-based play. Maybe we'll see Hitman come back, so that's something that came to my mind. But more, what do you think of Hearthstone thoughts on Photon Recharge? What, like, if you're David, because I know you've talked to David a lot and you've given him many suggestions. If you're David, and we are truly fucked after the Photon nerf, where do you go from that point?
Yeah, the thing is, like when I look at Photon Overcharge, I don't necessarily think that we need it because we need to defend against Terran drops and against third frontal pushes. I think it's very needed for Protoss versus Protoss because, like, in PvP, for whatever reason, it's not very difficult to get access to a warp prism or a pylon out on the map along with a gateway. So like you can forego the rush distance across the map very easily in PvP, and that's why I think Photon Overcharge is really needed. And having it at 50 energy, I think it could, like, even if you get past the Oracle bullshit and all that in early game, I'm afraid that PvP is just like you will keep building stalkers, like both of them, because you never get past that, and you just build immortals and stalkers. You could maybe get to Colossus or whatever in the Hardware Swarm. I won't pretend to understand PvP Hardware Swarm, but you could basically get like these super big robo units to defend with when Photon Overcharge wasn't enough anymore. But now in Legacy of the Void, I think that when Colossus is a lot weaker, you don't really want disruptors. In early fights you can use micro against it, and the immortals are a bit weaker. I'm afraid that PvP is just gonna devolve into some kind of Hardware Swarm version where it's just you don't like go up take anymore, and you don't keep expanding continuously. So I think Photon Overcharge right now is in a great place for PvP, and that's why I'm really worried about the matchup from that perspective. But yeah, it's like right now fucking proxy Oracle, like Hearthstone says, this is already super strong. So what we're gonna see after the nerf is, I think a lot more people are gonna proxy Oracle, and then some people are gonna make Stargate at home. They're gonna build Phoenix, and you're gonna have like a build order circle like this, and it's just gonna become a lot more of a volatile matchup.
Guys, oh, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like Photon Overcharge rushes in PvPs. That's what stands out the most to Zerg players and Terran players. Because that's what gets on Reddit, and you think, oh, the pilot rushes, this is silly. But this doesn't actually happen that often anymore. It's like on Arena, it can happen if you use the wrong build orders for whatever reason. And then it's like on the fucking ruins on one position. Like we never see pilot rushes beyond this point. So that's about that, and that's why I think Photon Overcharge is really important. Against Stargate would be like you're probably gonna have to make Stargate and like Oracles, Voiders, whatever, because gateway units, they can't fight against Ravagers or whatever. So that's what the metagame is most likely going to be. If you want to take a third base, you just have to rely on Stargate units because Zerg can't simply attack them pre-layered.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to do from here because I know I was a supporter of the 50 energy. But what I wanted David Kim to do was to give the Photon Overcharge longer range and longer duration. I think the damage was fine. So if you had longer range, you could actually have this kind of Stalker Wars, and that you have the pylons behind, and they could still support. But the PvP is like, you will Photon Overcharge one pylon, and he's just gonna kill that instantly. Because fucking Stalkers make extra, and the Mortals, he just kill it instantly. So I think it will do almost nothing. So that's what I told him about it. But he apparently wanted to increase the DPS of it, whereas I think the DPS is already way strong enough. So, but it's like very hard to talk about game design, even to one other guy, even if he's an expert and I'm an expert, because everybody sees the game differently. But yeah, I'm really worried about PvP. Like against Terran, I'm saying that this is gonna be broken. I'm gonna lose every game, but I know that they will eventually fix this matchup. Like if Protoss getting shit on, they will do something. But if PvP goes bad, I'm not sure if they're ever going to fix that. Yeah, that's what I think.
So what you're saying is David killed PvP for you, and like 2 months from now, Morrow goes back to Terran?
I'm worried that's what will happen.
Hey, since you talk to David Kim from time to time, I've just, Twitch chat is usually like the worst cancer you can get. But this guy said something that I thought was really fucking like a wow moment, They should have changed the pylon, the way it works, being able to overcharge only if it's powered and range of a gate or a nexus.
That's problematic because you
Because
either
what?
need Liberator behind mineral lines.
Really?
So the
But-
only way I think that works is if warp pylons can daisy chain each other, which also gets pretty funky. But yeah, that's it doesn't like you. Honestly, dude, like Liberators you just fuck Protoss shit up all the time pretty easily, if you can't overcharge it.
Yeah, I guess. That would be the only downside. But maybe if this nerf is really like fucking everything, this could be an option. Just touch a nexus,
Yeah.
touch a gate, and then photon recharge is available.
I think if you did that, you'd have to make it so that if they touch each other too,
Hmm.
because you're less likely to be chaining pylons across the map than you would be in your own base.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, Roddy, you didn't say much on that because we had the players talk a lot. Do you have anything else to add?
Wow, what's that supposed to mean? Do you really want me to bring up the last 7 times we played in Heart of the Swarm?
Yeah, I swear to God, I cannot beat Phoenixes. I'm like already dreading getting you in Legacy of the Void just because I suck so much dick versus Phoenixes. But
No, it's okay. No, I don't know. It's interesting. I always find it very difficult to speculate, so I don't really want to go too far. I like Morrow's points, and I do think he raises some very good concerns. I like what Nate said about like the other solution. That's not a solution because you really do need it against Liberators. But I think in PvP, like I kind of think it's going to be fine. What I'm a little bit surprised by the way, is that Showtime. This is unrelated, but we'll just wait and see. I guess I don't really know what the finals will do in PvP. I think it comes down mostly to the maps, but I don't think it's going to be all that bad. Let's not forget, just because you take an expand early on, you don't necessarily always have to like saturate it immediately. A lot of these Protoss builds of one base, I feel they're very obvious. So even if you have 2 nexus, you can just like rally them to your main and then just try to defend. And then if you defend, you basically win because you still got 2 nexus against 1. You don't need to mine off both bases just because you took a second base. What I think is kind of weird is that there's no change to the Disruptor. I really still feel that the Disruptor is too strong in PvP and it forces a lot of Blink Stalker against Disruptor. I know lately it's been changing a little bit and Phoenix Play is becoming more popular, but I don't know. I would have loved to see something a little bit different instead of Disruptors blowing up each other and Stalkers combined. Like, it's something that I'm not a very big fan of.
yeah, it's I don't know. For me, I like the way the Disruptor has its role right now, because a lot of people are doing Phoenixes, so like they'll do Zealot, Immortal
Yeah.
Archon, and then if your opponent decides to make Disruptors, I've seen some reactive Phoenix play, but I don't know if that's relevant at the high level game. Like I don't know if I'm at the high level yet when I play on any ladder. Do you see
You're
that?
not, but it's also happening on the high level. That's why I don't really-
You're right. You're right. Like disruptor is not. It's not all about disruptors anymore. Like people are learning how to counter it, and
But
it took a long time to learn how to micro
Yeah.
against disruptors. But what people can do now is they maybe play orbital shipyard. Like this guy goes disruptor. I know he can't attack, with 2 disruptors, so I'm gonna go take a 4th base. I'm gonna mass immortal, fucking get archons, charge zealots, and make a huge concave, and you just fucking attack from 2 sides, and then you just destroy disruptors. So and that's not the only option you have. You also have, the kind of you add phoenixes, and then in the last second you go in and you lift up every single disruptor. And even 1 phoenix can disable 2 disruptors because you can
Yeah.
lift, cancel,
Well-
and you lift the next one.
But I still feel
There's
there are
a
a
lot-
lot of there is a lot of moments where it turns into a standoff because attacking into disruptors is incredibly hard. So it forces all these like super long drawn out games with Tempest and Revelation, and I would love to see some more variety in PvP rather than that. Like I know the DreamHack it wasn't that bad, and even Showtime said like he's been messing around with different competitions. But I also feel that has a lot to do with the fact that maybe disruptor players have been playing so much disruptor against disruptor that they're not completely understanding yet how to play against something different. But once they figure it out, I don't know. I like being able to attack, and I feel it's extremely hard to attack against disruptors.
I think that's a valid point, and we'll see what David wants to do in the upcoming community updates. The last change that we didn't talk about is parasitic bomb damage decrease from 90 to 60. Now, is that too much? Like in PvP, it didn't feel like. For me, when I played super late game, you recall and parasitic bomb just disappears from your units, and so that wasn't so much of a problem in PvZ. But Nate, how did you feel facing parasitic bomb in ZVT?
This is okay. But first things yeah, the recall is like a good way to like cleanse that. But like if you are playing like versus because TVZ kind of gets into this hectic state if you try to play like a normal style because they get out ultras and then you can't really engage them while you try to transition into Ghost Lib. But like there are some players that have used like Banshees and such to deal really well with early Ravagers, and then you try to follow that up and like Starport tech is kind of trash because battle cruisers like they take forever to get a lot of them, and then if you want to use them you can't use Yamato because then you need to be able to teleport them away. Otherwise, they'll just die once they get attacked by anything. So, I really like Banshees in the late game. I like messing around with the Liberators as well, but like, it is so hard to fight versus like a shit ton of like Broodlords with Corruptors and like 3 Parasitic Bombs that kill everything. I think this is a really awesome patch because it makes it so that you don't need 2 to kill an entire cloud of air units for Terran. So they'll need at least 3 Parasitic Bombs. So you get a much better chance to either pick off one of them before they tag you, or you can at least split them. Like at least the time it takes you to split them, you won't lose all of them. And it's because it's less damage over the same amount of time. It's actually a pretty significant reduction in terms of like overall DPS. So it really does. It really like punishes you a lot less for like an extra second it takes you to split out the unit that's doing it. So I think it's really important. I think this is going to open up a lot more. Probably late game strategies for Terran versus Zerg. I don't know how exactly Protoss feel about it, but from what I've seen, like the damage towards like Tempests and Carriers hasn't been from what I've seen, it hasn't been like the worst thing ever. But I really hate this because your Vikings are gonna clump up to hit Broodlords, especially Corruptors, just because of the way that they work. They're supposed to be long range. You're gonna kite, and the way the AI works, it's always gonna push them together really close. And yeah, I think it's a great patch, and it's going to help a lot with late game TVZ.
Good. Anything that can make you happier, Nate, so that you don't balance wine as much on stream and then get a Reddit thread about you, dude. Anything for that.
Lindsay. Hey man,
What? It was so funny.
I remember
What?
the last conversation I had with David Kim before Legacy of the Void came out. I was like, "Look, man, we're really not doing anything about Parasitic Bomb." And they're like, "No, we don't think it's a problem." I'm like, well, I'll be the first person to tell you, told you so when you nerf this, and I'm glad it's finally happening.
Yeah, that's good. I like the follow-up thread on Reddit about the stocks of the karma and the graphs of like
Thing is, now that people have finally realized the real secret to why Roddy and I are okay with losing work in exchange for the WCS system screwing over Koreans is that Roddy and I are actually now going to get rich because all the players are going to stop streaming so that they can qualify for WCS. So really, the whole plan from the beginning was to knock Morrow out of the equation for competitive meme streams. So really, this was all just an elaborate ruse to build my stream up. And for that reason alone, it's never been a better time to invest.
Nate, is it fair to say you're the meme king when it comes to StarCraft?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's much better than the Salt King like 3 months ago. It was a lot worse.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, well, we've gone through every topic except one, and after that topic we're gonna go into the Reddit questions. So basically, as you've seen on Reddit and you've seen on the Twitch channel and you've seen on Twitter, this is the final episode of Remax. The reasoning it seems pretty reasonable. Maybe you guys will disagree or agree after I explain it. I actually, Moro, I asked you if you thought what I was gonna say was okay, but you didn't reply. You mind looking at it, or did you look at it and you didn't reply?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Go on Skype right now, real quick, and read up what I wrote, and then once I get your approval, it's always looking forward to your approval, Mo, and anything I do. Then I'll go.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that now. I
Yeah,
thought we
yeah.
were gonna talk at the end.
Well, I mean, the end is like, and then we'll get to the questions after this. It shouldn't take too long.
Okay, all right. Well, you have my go.
All right. So basically, we're ending the show because Huck wanted more viewers and wanted to focus on his play, and so gradually, I think I broke like 45 episodes in a row, and gradually the viewers always kept going down. Now there's a lot can be attributed to that. It was the end of an expansion, Heart of the Swarm, so obviously there's less hype, there's less announcement, there's less things to talk about. I could have been a better host. There's a lot of things that could have been different, so not enough viewers for Huck to continue coming on. Now, me and Moro have good chemistry together. We can make good jokes, but not every episode will have a good flow and good chemistry, because since we're down from 3 co-hosts to 2, there's 2 guests every episode, and so the chemistry is not always going to be perfect. And so that was one of the reasons. Like, me and Moro, like, we want to have fun, we want to make good jokes, but at the end we need to enjoy it. So without Huck, it wasn't the same. And then the third reason is the invite pool, the amount of people I can invite, and the eligible people that are qualified to come on the show. Streamers want to streams, and players want to play, and even relevant players that would have interesting things to talk about were just not interested about coming on. I don't know if it's like a social thing, like I don't want to go on a talk show and like expose myself and stuff like that. So for all these 3 reasons, I tried to get Huck to come on the show, and I tried to get Huck to do a show maybe next month that would fit in his schedule, but he couldn't make it work. And so with all these reasons, SC2Remax is ending. It was a really fun 61 episode. I didn't think I'd have this much fun. I remember, like, I think it was when me and Moro got invited on Unfiltered, or it wasn't Unfiltered back then. It was another name. Chanman was doing a show, and he invited me and Moro while we were in Poland. And remember back then, I really enjoyed coming on the show. I think it was my first or second talk show. And I told Chanman, I'm like, if you ever need someone to start a show, let me know. Obviously, I wasn't like a qualified person in his mind to start a talk show with, but it was really nice in 2014 to start the show by myself. And actually, I'm glad Arstem is here today, because he's the one that pushed me. I don't know if you remember, Arstem, you're like, I feel like there should be more talk shows in the scene. You should do one.
I do remember that.
And actually, Arstem was the first one to come on the show back when it was with Feed Me. And also, I'm glad that Roddy and Nate are here. They've always come on. There are a few folks that have come on the most on the show. And so that's been really, really nice. Another honorable mention, Rifkin, who's not here today, who came on quite a lot as well. And Moro, who decided to tag along after we invited him so many times and never let him speak. So, all right, let's get to the Reddit questions. There's a few of them.
Don't you have like a highlight reel, lined
No,
up?
no.
Normally at the end of the
With
show,
some
you have
sappy
the-
music.
yeah, that's the best moment of Remax, man.
So people told me to try to get one, but it's okay.
Yeah, it isn't like, guys. It isn't like all bad news here. I got a little bit of an announcement myself. So, me and Huck have been talking, and we decided with Remax stopping everything, it's gonna be so few talk shows. So me and Huck are gonna start a new talk show. Starting tomorrow. You should tune in. It's gonna be on Huck's channel. You should check it out.
It's called Remux or what?
It's just a bad troll. This one piss this off. Imagine if that happened.
Dude, I was not saying a word. I wasn't sure if you were serious, man. All right, let me see if there's any good question on Reddit. When will Blizzard finally implement the Baneling launcher upgrade to the Spore Crawler? You load up individual Banelings and they get shot out at mutas and stuff. There's no downside. I don't think that guy was serious. Oh my god.
That's Mr. Bidder's idea from 2011 or 2012.
Really?
He was always, yeah, Bidder was always talking about it.
I've been saying it for years. The Immortal should be able to fire probes as projectiles for 40 damage to air units. Like, I don't understand why it's not a thing. Just saying.
Yeah. From Fear Dragon, who is everyone's favorite player, streamer, event, content producer they love that they think doesn't get as much attention as they deserve? Anyone they think is underappreciated and want to recommend to people to check out, cheer for? I think that's a very good question. Let's start with Harstem, my man. Any like player stream you watch often, you feel no one watches, but they're the shit or anything like that?
That no one watches?
Yeah, no, just like someone that doesn't get like the viewer count or the hype they should get, but you feel like it's like really good, like quality or entertainment maybe, like Theo's stream maybe.
Yeah, Theo's stream is great, man. I love it. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. It's definitely a diamond in the rough, I would say.
Yeah.
So that thing. What were the other things that I had to name?
It was
the
like
whole-
it was like, well, I mean, you can pick one. It's like content producer, streamer, player, yeah, event. You know, if there's an event you go to, like maybe the Dutch event, but you don't have to like give an answer for each one. It's just-
Oh, okay. Now,
Okay,
then
so-
I'm gonna say with Theo. Theo, definitely a stream you should check out.
All right. What about you, Marl?
I don't know. I need some time to think.
All right. What about you, Natanus?
I think a good friend of mine, a very good casual Terran streamer that does not get enough love. I think his Twitch is SRC Avalon. He recently had like He recently had like an okay result in a StarCraft 2 tournament, but I think he's only got like 2 emotes, so we need more people to check him out. His alternate handle you may have heard of is Euthermal, I think. It's like a thermal shirt. So yeah, definitely a good stream.
I feel like he would have so many more viewers if he had better branding. Like, what the fuck is SRC Avalon, right? Right? No.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Right. Just,
Yeah.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad. What about you, Rotterdam? Who would you feel needs some more love and hype?
I don't know. I feel like there are a couple of pro gaming proto streams that are good, but I don't think they're. I mean, I think that it will all come down to them just being more consistent and streaming more, and then they'll get more viewers. But I always think it's fun when Cap streams, host them. I think it's fun when Drogo is streaming. I actually thought Drogo's stream was pretty good. State has really been, he's getting up there right now, but I always thought State had a very good stream. I do check out, like your average top 20, top 25 Proto Grandmaster League stream. I was like, okay, cool, let's give it a go and see it. And it actually often saddens me that these guys that are pretty damn good at StarCraft and they actually put in a lot of hours streaming, then they don't have the simplest things like a decent microphone or a webcam in the bottom of the screen. It's like, you're not really inviting people right now to check out your channel. Like, yeah, you're top 20 GM, that's awesome. You obviously know a lot about the game, but please put in 1 hour of like making your stream look a tiny bit better. So I think that is like my biggest advice to all of them. Other than that, there isn't really one person that I watch that has like 20 viewers and I think deserves way more.
What about like an event or content producer? Or...
I don't know. I think that Fear Dragon does good stuff. So like I was watching a big part of the Best of 69 thing he was doing with Jon Snow and Billy Billy. I thought that was fun, and I think overall he has a lot of good ideas. So I'd say check out some more stuff what Fear Dragon is doing on his channel because every night he produces some enjoyable quality content. I'd say.
What about you, Mo? Did you manage?
So Rotterdam, to sum it up, so like pretty much all the pro gamer proto streams but not me.
No, you're already
More
super
up.
successful. No, like I
What?
mean, you have more viewers than those guys. Like I was thinking about the guys who are like in range of like let's say 100 to 250, 300 viewers. You get 7, 8, 900 by yourself. Like I don't think that means that you know that's pretty good. Unless you feel like you deserve 3K, then all right, check out my dear friend Stefan. He's very good at pros.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
No, I mean like Hawkstream, like I mean I'm sub to Hawkstream as well. I've been sub to your stream. I've been sub to Niner stream, but those channels already get big in numbers. Like I was mentioning the guys that get some viewers, but not as many as I think that you know maybe they deserve. They're fun, nice people. So let's say check them
Yeah,
out.
you're right. You're totally right. Alright, my pick is WW Mid Racer. He's a Swedish Zerg player who's been around as long as I can remember, and he's still like I'm not sure if it's full time anymore. It might be studying, but you should
No.
definitely check out this stream because this guy is so fucking hilarious, and he commentates his games and you know everything. So yeah, you should really look at that.
As for myself, my recommendation, I think the one that deserves a lot more views and credit is Wardy. Wardy is running the SC2 Improved Team League, and today was Vordic's first appearance since his comeback, and the stream wasn't breaking more than 350 viewers. He's going to be running a team league for 12 weeks. He's organizing a lot of stuff. He's full-time caster, so if you want, you know, variety is a spice of life. If you like to watch tournament streams, well, give him a shot and try him. I feel he deserves more.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy as well. You know, there's a TV show called Geordie Shore, and it's like from his town, Newcastle. The show is fucking amazing. Do you watch it? Do you watch the show
I've watched a couple episodes
with
back
Todd?
then.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, it's so good. It's really good. Okay, next up, question to Harstem. Who is your favorite Swedish Zerg? That's a tough one, right? Because you're really good friends with Zanster and Mini, but you have to pick one.
Oh, that one question was to me.
No,
Sort
it's
of,
to
yeah.
Harstem. To Harstem.
Oh, okay. Okay,
This
good.
is just where he says sort of.
I just love Namshar, man.
You love Namshar?
Yeah, no, Mini and Samsel are both great, and they're
What? Yeah, no, you
definitely-
have to pick one, man.
Ah, piss off, Dash, so I decide what I do.
All right, let me see. Will we ever see Mesro Archon gain? More? Are we ever gonna play Archon mode? I feel like that would be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like there should be more, you know, Archon stuff. Even though like it can be like fun show events, like show matches or whatever. I just thought it would be something by now. Just kind of like the game is so much fun right now that people are just forgetting about, you know, this extra feature that we have.
Yeah, that's true. But then with all the qualifiers and all the, you know, there's no like rest time for us until like BlizzCon, right? So it's a little bit tough sell to put some time aside to get good chemistry with an Archon partner when you think about it, no?
Yeah, I'm not talking about like tournaments, but imagine like Rotterdam and Athenias playing against two other big guys, and they maybe make a show match, and they're all streaming, and I was just expecting some stuff like that. Yeah, there's
Roddy,
nothing
Roddy
I
and
have
Nate
planned.
doesn't. Roddy and Nate doesn't really work in Archon. We have
Hey.
tried, but
No, I believe Kev.
all right, we'll have another go at it. But the last time we were not very successful.
I believe.
It's like Nathan's Protoss is fucking Gold League, and my Terran is like Silver League. So like it doesn't really matter what we do, but one out of the two, like I feel like if I put my feet in the desk and he's playing Terran, like it's better if I don't do anything until he has maybe a dropship where he's like, all right, you know, take it. Then it's like, okay, I'll take it. But other than that, like there isn't too much I can do. And the same, like if I give him control of any Protoss unit, like my eyes start bleeding the moment I see him walk around with Stalkers. Like it's like, what on earth are you doing, Nate? These things don't have stim. You cannot just run forward and kill things. They actually die, you know. So, but yeah. All jokes aside, I do agree with you, but you know, there is it's never too late. There's a good chance we'll see quite some Archon things in the near future. Don't worry.
Someone said if you could see any older map return, what would they be? I know we had a dream pool a year ago, but the game is completely different now. What would happen if there were to be more Brood War-esque map features, base spread out further, less bases on the map? Well, the base spread out is like Central Protocol in a nutshell, and fucking sucks dick. So, and more choke points. Well, I think more choke points is something weird because you know they nerf sentries, or I mean like sentries are not used in the build orders as much these days, and the maps are just large like a freaking like 3-door garage. So I don't know. What do you guys think of that question? I know it was like 3 questions in one, but.
I mean, as far as bringing maps back go, I don't know. I think one of the maps I still have like really fond memories, like, and I still like a lot actually, is Whirlwind. But that's kind of like that's like to me, like I think about like an iconic map that was good, that wasn't like super boring. Like I know like a lot of people will bring up like Cloud Kingdom and Daybreak, but like when I think about those maps, like all I can think about is Broodlord Infestor and like just absolute shit. But like I don't know, I really liked Whirlwind a lot.
Ohana, man. It's all about Ohana.
Oh god.
Oh, what the fuck that map?
We already struggle versus lurkers. It would be like the same. Going back to like Broodlord when you'd get siege.
Oh my god. Fucking God.
Yeah, it's interesting about the mouse. So in StarCraft 2, it was often like you had like very few shock points to your third base because of force field. But I feel like those like maps should be looking differently in StarCraft 2 right now. So now you take like Dusk Tower Orbital Station, and those maps are like really terrible because of how Photon Overcharge works. If you can just pinpoint like one location to Photon Overcharge, Protoss will be very OP on that map compared to other maps. So they're like there used to be some rules to how a map should look. Like this is how force field works. Avoid doing this kind of stuff. And later you get Broodlord Infestors. You should avoid getting maps to look kind of like this, or you have one place to defend the swarm host, like the whole map. So it's all a bit different now. I think maps should probably look different from StarCraft 2. I think there is like more room to work with maps. Like I know this map pool is like really terrible, but if it wasn't for Legacy of the Void itself, I think the map pool would be even worse than it is now. So I definitely think there's more freedom to do stuff. Like I don't necessarily think that you should have a Daybreak layout in the mid to late game to, call it a good map. At the same time, you don't need a map like Whirlwind to avoid fucking turtle games. So now every race has these siege units like Liberator and Disruptor, Lurkers. So all the races are a bit more similar in this fashion. The races can harass and spread out a bit more. So I mean it's all wide open right now how you want to decide your maps. But of course there are rules in early game up to your three base setup, and I think that's why most people hate the map pool right now, because they're really like fucking with us how your first 3 bases are. But beyond that, I think it's like anything could be really good and really interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go on to the next question. Blizzard made a point about creating more situation in front of a crowd with a huge hype and atmosphere when they announced the new system. What's everyone's opinion on us having only the final on a stage in front of a crowd? Seems far from what they wanted. What was the reason?
It's very simple. Whenever Blizzard or whenever DreamHack makes plans for a DreamHack event, they don't make them last week. They don't design the 4-lore plan last week. Like the way that DreamHack has planned DreamHack Leipzig was way before any of these WCS changes were even finalized. So don't go too ham on this first DreamHack. Let's see how it's going to be in Tours, for example, or wherever it is the next DreamHack. Austin, let's see then. But yeah, for this one, you gotta let it go, because these plans were already made way before WCS was announced.
Highly situational case, and obviously nobody actually wanted it to be like that. It's just circumstance how it played out.
You know, you lagged while you explained your when you said what you said, Roddy. And I
Oh,
thought you were no, it's fine. We heard, but there was just like a delay where you didn't say anything, and it stopped at the point where you could have gone negative and you went positive, and I was expecting some negativity out of you, and I'm like, oh wow, like Roddy's so positive. That's a good answer. Thank you. Since Jadong contract is over this week, do you see him throwing and going back to Boudoir next week after his Code match versus Lennox? That would
No.
suck. That would suck if he threw and went back to Boudoir.
I
Do you
don't
even,
see
like,
it
look
happen.
at the questions before you read them, Des, or like
I mean, no,
Like-
no,
like-
no. But
like-
listen. There's many players that have like, I think it was like, was it effort? Like he made it to like GSL round of 8 or something like that. And the
Yeah.
next season he's like, all right guys, I'm out. Get the fuck out. And then he's back on Africa like a week later.
like of course it's possible that Jadong is gonna go to Boudoir, but like I'm not sure how we would have more information than anyone else. Like I don't think any of you is best friends with Jadong, right? Like
Yeah, no, of course. But do you think Jadong still has it in himself to? Does he still have the passion to carry on his legacy and try to continue forward?
Wouldn't it be even harder for him to be successful in Boudoir? Like, if anything of the rumors is true, is that Jadong just seems to be enjoying life a whole lot more ever since he stopped being on the grind of, being a Boudoir pro, and he enjoys the freedom that StarCraft 2 gives him. I think it would be a complete change in his life to go back to Boudoir. I personally don't see it happening, but of course it is a little strange what is happening to Jadong, right? Because he was like one of the top dogs in, what was it, 2013 or 2014? The year he did all the
13.
second places.
2013, right?
And it just kind of seems that it's been going downhill ever since. And he moved to America. We've seen so little of him here and there, a tournament appearance. But it is strange what is going on. But I don't think he's going to go back to Boudoir. Well, if he does, I guess I look silly, but I don't see it happen.
Okay, it's fair.
Unless it's like super casual. But I do not see him. It would be a shame. I would be kind of sad. I do really like Jadong, so I wouldn't want him to leave.
Mm-hmm. Am I wrong, or was the full crowd that everybody hyped about all there to watch CSGO? Because most of them weren't cheering at all when Drogo won. Can't find the Twitter video that was made when Drogo won, but most of the viewers seem not to care, looking at their phones, etc.
No, I mean, obviously there were people who were there early for Counter-Strike, but in the previous days there were a lot of people trying to watch StarCraft as well, a different screen. And like when I say a lot, I don't mean like 17 people. I actually mean like a decent-sized crowd,
No,
enough to fill up those stages. So, I mean, German fans don't have the reputation to be like the craziest fans out there. We've seen that so many times in the past, right? It's not the same as a Polish. Like Germans are very passionate, but in their own way, and they just don't really go as crazy as like a Polish crowd or what other nations? France. But there were definitely a lot of StarCraft fans there. Obviously, there were people there as well early for Counter-Strike, but I'll guarantee you that there were a lot of StarCraft fans there.
I think this is from Uthermal. Let me confirm in chat. Yeah, okay, it's from Uthermal. Tomorrow in Hearthstone, how much time do you spend reading forums, Twitter, etc., and how much does the community negativity affect your mindset towards StarCraft 2?
Ever since I stopped streaming, I like spent almost no time at all on it. But yeah, earlier on, like on a normally I would check it, a couple of times every day. But there have been periods where you like look between every single game and every game you play and so on. But I just don't find it super interesting as I did. I've been around for all these years, and there's just not that much fun stuff coming out. So when I read Reddit, I pretty much just want to see fun things, things I can laugh at, because I don't really want to get into discussions or anything like that. So yeah, that's how it is for me. Yeah, it's not hindering me at all in my practice, if that's what he's asking.
What about you, Arston?
I don't think it influenced the kind of negativity that's like Hearthstone's retarded or he's awful. Like that doesn't do too much to me because it's mainly just trolls. But what is really annoying, and it was once again really well, when I followed like the Adept debate and the Bomber versus Seed games, it's a lot of people that have absolutely no clue what they're talking about, and they just like kind of keep on repeating the same things over and over
It's an
until
echo
they
chamber,
think it's
right?
true. Yeah, well, whatever you want to call it, but I feel like this is mainly on Reddit, on Twitter or whatever. I think even though Twitter is quite an awful medium for any kind of discussion, it's already better than Reddit in some way, because if one thing gets said in Reddit, like I saw 5 or 6 threads where they just kept on linking to their own comments again, like, oh, I already said this 5 hours earlier, and I was reading it, and I don't really feel like responding, but a lot of people, like, no offense, but they really have no clue what's happening in the game. Like, they would say, so you're fucking Adept, just run in, and Adept are too strong because of this and this. And they don't really understand the reasons why the Adept was too strong. And I think Moro made a good point earlier. Like, I think the main reason why Adept was so dumb was because it just limited the Terran in the amount of build orders that they could do. And I don't know, like just reading everything just made me, that actually did make me a little frustrated that a lot of people seem to have no problem at all with having like a very clear opinion on something which they, to me, obviously have no clue about. So I think that's a bit annoying to see, because I don't know as much about other issues like I do about the actual balance of the game, because, well, this is basically what I do all day. So I know a lot about this, but then if I see something else on Reddit about whatever the WCS system, I have almost no clue about it. So I would never, ever in my life feel inclined to comment anything about this in a public setting where everyone else can critique what I just said. And a lot of people don't seem to have this switch where they feel like they need to have any knowledge about the topic that they're talking about. And that's a bit frustrating to see for me. But anything else? No, I think I mainly get positive feedback as well on Twitter and Reddit, and everyone is really supportive. And I feel like we actually have a pretty nice community in regards to that.
I don't know,
Like
man.
you said,
Go on.
the
Sorry.
past weekend I was hanging out a bit with Pekka, and when I saw his Twitter feed, there was some real mean shit being said, like just I don't know, like it wasn't real nice, and I never really get that. Even if I get like one angry comment or whatever, most of the time if I like talk back to the guy, then he seems all right. So I don't know. I think we have a pretty damn nice community, to be honest.
I don't know, man. Ever since like, cause Remax was on hiatus for like a month and a half, and so, you know, when I was running Remax, it was my job to like monitor Reddit to see if I like wouldn't miss anything, you know, to always be up to date. And ever since, like, I think there was like that period of like Avello talking shit to like Juggernaut Jason or whatever, and having like a 3,000 upvote thread of everyone like taking a shit on Avello, like, you know, dropping their pants and just taking 5 minutes to shit on him. Like, that was just really negative. Like, I think life is just much better with very small doses of Reddit instead of just always being there every day. Because there's not that much discussion about the games. Like, the thing I like the most about Reddit is like when there's like congratulations to the winner of like Arstem versus Uthermal, and then you have people discussing the game. That's fun, but I think sometimes the subreddit is a little too toxic. So I know the question wasn't directed at me, but I felt like I wanted to put my 2 cents in. So fuck you all. Let's see. Why is there no Zerg representative? It's life. All right. There was a good question on Twitter. There's like a few more questions, guys. We're almost done. Why did the Nation War heroes, Cyril and Marine Lord, crash and burn in DreamHack? Do they have land jitters? Anyone wants to take a...
Do we think Cyril crashed and burned? I thought Violet played pretty well. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess Cyril made it for
He
the
did
Marine
well.
Lord.
Marine Lord got spanked, but I mean, he tried. I mean, I don't know. It's just
Did
from,
you
like,
did you
the
see
game that I
Showtime
watched.
Marine Lord?
I mean,
I watched some of
most of Hero Marine, or to me, Hero Marine, Marine Lord, his performances in Nation Wars had nothing to do with TVP though. Like, yes, he beat Parting twice, but one of the games was on Arena, where I think it's safe to say Arena is a very unique map, and if Protoss is not ready to deal with that one base build, or if they don't cater towards it, they'll die. The other game was on fucking Central Protocol, also an extreme map. You know, we didn't really see Marine Lord outplay a whole lot of great Protosses in long, drawn-out macro games in Nation Wars. So the fact that he lost to a Protoss, a very good one, Showtime 3-2, Is that really that surprising? Like, to be honest, I thought it was 50-50 when those guys came in. It just kind of unfortunately played in round of 32. Of course, he lost to Huck in the group stage as well. But once again, the hype that was from Marine Lord was not based on his TVPs. Like, yes, he beat Parting, but go back and look at those games. Those two games were extremely unique. Proxy, Madness, One Base. It's very different than a normal game. So I didn't think it was extremely surprising. And I agree with Nate that Cerro losing in, what was it, the quarterfinals to Violet?
Yeah.
That's not crashing and burning. The kid is 17 years old. He makes it to the quarterfinals of DreamHack, the first big event in 2016. I'd say that's a pretty good start of the year. And once again, Cyril did not get the hype of his nationwide performance of ZVZ. It was mostly because of his ZVT and also ZVP, in which he's just a freaking beast. It was not ZVZ. So people shouldn't forget to look at matchups.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just filtering like the last remaining questions, but one thing that I know about Marine Lord is that he hasn't been playing as much because his mentality about the game it's not going so well because of how the Adept and PVT was working out. He just had a lot of frustration about that. He was successful before DreamHack, and maybe he could have broke through still. But I'm sure he'll be back at the next event and he'll practice much more. Because he tweeted his goal was to make 50k before the end of the summer, I think. And then if he made 50k, he wouldn't retire. So I'm pretty sure he wants to achieve that goal. Because playing video games for a living is pretty fun. Did you guys see the oddshot video of the DreamHack host making fun of StarCraft? The CSGO host?
Yeah, I saw it.
Like, what the fuck was that? Like, I understand, like, it feels like CSGO, they're all trying to, like, one-up each other at being edgy, and that guy just fucking, like, said something retarded and probably regretted it after.
What did he say? I didn't see it.
Cause,
something about that game.
Yeah, it was like, the final was being delayed because they were waiting on the stage. And he said, like, sorry for the delay, guys. We're waiting on StarCraft 2. The final is, it's 3-1 right now, so it could end at any minute. But yeah, StarCraft is not a real sport, and soon we'll be showing you some Counter-Strike games or whatever. So he took a jab at StarCraft just, like, unnecessarily.
It is unnecessary. It's a little immature, but I also don't think we should make it the biggest deal in the world. I mean, how many times have we teased League of Legends for not being in esports and shit like that?
Yeah, but it's like you're hired by DreamHack and you're the host of a panel and you shit on
Yeah, but like, we shouldn't make it bigger than it.
Yeah, why should we get rustled over this, man? People say dumb shit all the time.
Okay.
And I mean, and let's not be on, like, he probably doesn't really mean it. It's just like, he tries to score some points at his Counter-Strike audience,
Don't we still, like, poke fucking, like, heroes and shit all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Even during this tournament, we, like, trolled Kalaris, like, why are you actually here,
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
It's not a big deal, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. If you could take one player back from his retirement, who would it be?
Rain.
The Kraken.
Yeah, that's a good one. What about you, Nate?
Ooh, that's a... Man, I mean, if I can... if doing this also gives some new wrists, I think... I don't know, like MVP. He's the guy that inspired, I think, every Terran in the beginning.
Yeah, that's very true.
Give him new wrists. Bring him back.
What about you, Morrow?
Yeah, the fate of the Terran players. Yeah, if we could have new wrists and like be happy about the game, I would bring back Flash instantly. But if he ends up playing, Brood War and all that comes back, I would be super happy too. But yeah, it's really weird. Like, you look at the Korea tournament, it's always for me like I'm looking forward so much to watching Flash, and that's not around anymore. So yeah, it was a big loss for me. I almost retired myself, but yeah, I would bring back Flash instantly, man.
For me, it's a toss-up between Bisu and Youngbi. Anyway, these two didn't play much StarCraft 2, and I didn't see much of their Brood War career. But what they showed in StarCraft 2, it looked like they had a lot of potential. But Bisu missed the Fangirls, and then Youngbi missed Brood War, so. They moved on to better... Oh, by the way, you guys saw the Brood War finals, right?
No.
Nope.
No? Really?
Which, wait, you mean the one that just happened?
Yeah, Bisu versus Effort.
I watched a little bit of it.
All right, so maybe the chat can relate with me on this. You guys saw last week when Bisou shaved his eyebrows on camera on his stream, right? That it was on Reddit. Shout out to the GSL crew for the makeup job on Bisou because it looked like he had eyebrows, even though he didn't. It was such a good job. I was like, I tuned in. I'm like, wait, he actually has eyebrows. There's no way. So that was a pretty funny moment during the Rudor final. All right, two more questions, guys. Two more. What do you think has happened about the Ravager morph time? It kind of just disappeared. Do you think it's a good change? This is the same shit that fucking happened with the Widowmine nerf back in Heart of the Swarm.
Yo, here's the thing, man. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, like, during all, like, the raging that everyone did about balance, like, Blizz has thrown, like, 4 or 5 red herrings at us that, like, kind of draw attention away from the main issues, but never get brought up again, including the Thor change, Baneling speed getting mentioned. I think they also haven't mentioned again, like, the tank drop thing, as well as, obviously, what you're talking about. I don't know. I thought it would, I mean, I guess I'm pretty biased. Obviously, I think it'd be a good change, but I would hope that it would help against PvZ more, but I don't know.
Okay. And the last question, but not the least, from Rewarded Fool, was the last question of Remax. How do you guys think the WCS changes will stand up long term in the foreign scene? Lots of potential prize money for players outside the top 16 or so has been cut. Even the season championship only pays to top 16, and the money and the new challenger is really low compared to last year. Will the hold on? That's not a question. That's like will the motivation for foreign pros last long term when they've had 6 months of earning nothing from tournaments when before they at least they got 2K for challenger 3 times a year? Anyhow, I've loved the show for ages. Such a shame it's stopping. Where will we see real pro gamers talk about the game now? Shout out tomorrow on that one. But he's
Okay.
he's got a point there. 2K for 3 times challenger. But yeah, go on, Roddy. You seem like you had some strong opinion about that
Yeah,
one.
I actually think it's the complete opposite. I think there is so much more potential now. Like, do you really play StarCraft as a pro gamer just to get $2,000 for an online tournament and then never make it anywhere? Don't travel around the world. Borderline impossible to have a very good payday. Is that really what motivates the youngsters? I mean, I do not think that the future WCS foreign champion will be born out of a guy that is completely happy and satisfied with winning $2,000 online once upon a blue moon, or and that system was worse. Like we just heard Cav say, that's super motivating to have a big qualifier every month or have a big offline event every month. In that old system, if you lost in Challenger or if you didn't make it to the $2,000 in Challenger, often you were done for 3 months unless you wanted to go to a DreamHack where we had 22 Koreans competing. So I really don't think. I think this is much better. Of course, you could say that the 2000 in Challenger was very nice for some people because that was kind of like their limit, right? Like they could make that, but they also knew they wouldn't really make a whole lot more. So the safety and guarantee of the 2K of Challenger was very, very nice. But I don't think that should be like the driving force behind any foreign pro. I can't imagine that's the case.
Anyone wants to jump in on that one?
I mean, I feel like we kind of like talked about this, right? Like the old format left you feeling like a Korean this year. Where you just have so much fucking time before you get to do anything else.
Yeah, that's
and
very
I also
true.
agree that you shouldn't aspire to mediocrity, right? Like if you're working hard and you're playing hard, like your goal is going to be to get past that point. And there's so many more opportunities to get past that point. Like I don't see like the difference between top 32 and top 16 3 times a year, or top 16 with what is it, like 10 or 8? Whatever.
11.
Yeah, 11 times. Would you rather have 11 chances at top 16 or 3 chances at top 32? Like do the people that really practice and play hard and actually dedicate themselves as pros honestly believe they can't get past the round of 32? Like confidence is what makes you a champion. Like people, like it's not like a bunch of pussies who are coming in here trying to be like, oh, well, I don't think I'm going to beat top 32, so I wish we had the old system. Like, no, it's ridiculous.
I've not heard anybody say that.
I mean, I think one of the thing we have to think about is there's 11 shots, right? Like you guys said, it's a lot more motivating. But not only that, but it gives you more exposure if you have like one breakthrough performance, and it could indirectly give you a better salary, or it could give you a team, and it could give you more support, and hopefully. These 11 tournaments will bring in more teams or bring in more money in terms of salaries and player support. For example, I joined a team with Wellmoose, Soul, and Major, and you know, they're better than me, so they're probably going to get more travel support. But those sort of things indirectly help the scene because you know, you have a shot at making top 16 and making some money. So I agree with you guys on that. At first, the less money, because for example, like I think Challenger is not that much money. I don't know how much total, but for example, Copa is getting like 40K for the year for 3 seasons of Copa. So they already announced that Challenger for NA and EU wasn't going to be 40K. It's still going to be some money. Maybe they could raise it. Who knows who's going to run these regional tournaments? But yeah.
But it's still, you need to go to LAN tournament to win money.
Yeah, well, not that Challenger. It'll be online.
Oh, it will be online.
Yeah, it's a passport qualifier that's like a separate league that gets you to go to like Katowice.
Okay.
But yeah, guys, that covers all the questions. That covers all the questions. Let's do the outros and then be on our way for a final time. Morrow, what are you up to next? Oh no, actually, you're the co-host. We'll get you last. Roddy, what are you up to next?
I'm actually going to PAX South on Thursday. Something I agreed upon a long time ago because I thought I wouldn't have anything to do. I'll be casting Greygood, the other RTS by Grey Box. I'll be casting it together with Hawk. And then I'll be home again, I think, on Sunday night, which is very nice because I'm really excited to just, you know, be back here, play a lot, and just like, you know, work on every single aspect of myself as a caster, human being, player, streamer, you know, just all of that. So it's really good to have some time for myself soon. Yeah, that's about it. So if you guys are into Greygood, you can watch Hawk and me cast it this weekend at PAX South, or if you're there, you know, say hi. Always welcome that. And if not, then I'm pretty sure I'll see you guys on one of the StarCraft streams or my own. And of course, shout out to you, Desi, for doing a really good job in trying to keep a StarCraft 2 talk show going. I know it's a lot harder than it looks. It's all fun and games in the beginning when everybody is willing to cooperate, and then at a certain point you have to handle, you know, a lot of different ambitions or egos or anything. So I know it's not easy. So yeah, shout out to you, man, for trying to do something good for the community.
Thank you, man. What about you, Nathanius? What are you up to next?
Just gonna keep streaming, man. That's it. You know, the dream. Get up to 420,000 subs and then not have to cast anymore and just literally sit in my boxers streaming StarCraft all day until I literally become a meme and become absorbed by my computer. And then, you know, hopefully VR will have kicked in by then. But until that comes, just waiting for the next tournament, I guess, like everyone else.
By the way, I really liked your casting of the DreamHack qualifier, so maybe if you're knocked out early...
Oh yeah. I have every intention to try to put together some more stuff. We've got plans.
Right. Nice. What about you, Arstem? What are you up to next?
I think there's an IAM qualifier tomorrow.
Yes.
And that's the first one in a series of
4.
2 qualifiers for the final qualifier. We have 2 qualifiers for the qualifier this week, and same thing repeats itself the next week. I'm looking forward to that. A lot of players actually are left a little sick from DreamHack, because not only was it a really cool tournament, there also was a pretty sick after party that, I think most players might have drank a little too much there. And so I'm very curious how the qualifier is going to look tomorrow. If I have to believe the stories, almost everyone is sick or still hangover 3 days later. So yeah, I'm just going to play those. And after that, I think there's a bit of a break actually in tournaments. There's going to be DreamHack Austin and Tours in May.
May 6th to May 8th.
Yeah.
It's on my birthday, so it's easy to remember.
And between, I think actually something I'm pretty excited for. For the first time since I became a pro gamer, I'm planning a holiday for myself. So I'm gonna go somewhere, have some fun for a week and a half, and not think about StarCraft for this amount of time.
Where are you
It's actually
going?
gonna be Probably Thailand. So it's gonna be a
Oh.
lot of fun.
Nice,
You just
dude.
admit to
Nice.
thinking about doing something other than playing StarCraft.
Yeah, I'm really excited, Nathan.
According to Reddit, that's worthy of capital punishment. Have fun.
Thank you.
Nice. And yeah, so you'll go to DreamHack Austin, right? Even if you don't qualify. Nice,
of
man. We'll party together. What about you, Mo? What are you up to next?
Yeah, up next, just like Hearthstone, I'll be playing in the IM qualifier. I'm really motivated, for tournaments right now. I haven't been streaming a shit long time, but I think once the qualifiers are over, which should be in about a week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. I should be going back to streaming once again, which you can check out at Twitch TV slash Borrow. So yeah, I know there's some viewers of my stream here. I just wanna, openly apologize, but you know how it is. Like when you really enjoy something, like playing games, I think it's good to take the opportunity to just practice while you're really enjoying the game. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm in a similar boat as you. Like I streamed 40 hours this month, and it's because I've enjoyed the game a lot. I've tried to become really good. And streaming and playing is not the same as just playing by yourself or just hanging out like on a TeamSpeak and playing with some other people. But yeah, guys, no, thank you so much for watching 60, or maybe even if you didn't watch all episodes, thank you for being there, all those episodes. Thank you to every single guest that have come on. Thank you for all the Reddit questions, the Twitter questions, the upvotes, those clicks, all that energy you spent clicking for us and all that. It was a one hell of a journey, and it had to end eventually. And so I'm happy to be ending it on a high note. So thank you again, guys, and good luck on the ladder, I guess. Have a good time.
See you.
All right.
See you, mate.